we're actually releasing a collector's edition line of boards for charity. We're raising money for Covenant House, which is a youth homelessness foundation where we're battling youth homelessness, giving them opportunities to, learn trades and just have a safe place to sleep at night.
Okay, so when I saw the information come through, it said it was a one-of-a-kind board. So you're making multiple of the same board, or individual multiple one-of-a-kind boards?
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, it's 150, and
okay.
They're all signed by Zach Levi.
How did that design process go down between you two to make this board?
It was actually a little touch and go there for a minute. I tend to have my own viewpoints on what would make for a good board, and Zach was pretty adamant about doing a sleeping bag design, which made sense, because it goes with the whole, pushing the message that these kids are on the streets and all that. I just couldn't really envision the board, and I got my buddy Nick Akonis to give me a hand doing like this really rustic, cool version of a sleeping bag turned into a board. And in the end, Zach was right. It ended up looking a lot cooler than what I had imagined, and got the message across. So yeah, it was pretty cool.
Well, how long does the design process take to do a board like this?
Customs, man, they're usually pretty touch and go. Like some just happen, like someone can pitch an idea, I immediately have the final product in mind, and it comes out great first shot. And then sometimes, I design that first one, it doesn't look how I imagined, and then I spend 20 hours, redoing designs, cutting out new versions of it, and just doing trial and error before there actually is the legit final product.
And you do all these by hand. You don't do like what I do with like 3D printing, is I do it in 3D and then I have something print up for it. You do all this by hand, correct?
Oh, that's how I originally started out. And then to make it like a viable company, I got a CNC machine which does the carving for me. But the designs, they start out hand drawn. I scan them in, program them to cut on the machine, and then there's usually at least 1 to 3 hours of hands-on work after it comes off the machine.
These custom boards that are being created, how much are they going to go for a piece?
So these collector's ones, they're $500 a piece.
And that's $500 flat out with shipping and everything, or is shipping on top of that?
It's like $10 for shipping.
Okay.
Yeah.
And where are you based out of?
I'm in Daphne, Alabama. So a lot of people don't know there's a coast in Alabama, but we're on the coast.
I'm from Tampa, so I'm used to it.
Oh, nice. Cool.
So when you started all this, did you figure you'd be making custom boards exclusively as a career, or was this kind of a thing that you just kind of moved into gradually?
Yeah, to be straight up, man, like everything was just winging it, man. I started out as like a sign maker, and just happened to think the process we use making a sign would look cool on a skateboard, and then just started taking orders. And then I went for the whole beach vibe, like most skateboard companies are. And I was getting a little bit of traction, but nothing great. But then a buddy commissioned me to do a Justice League series, and after I dropped those like comic book themed boards, that's when stuff like really started taking off, and that light bulb went off. That pop culture was going to be my niche. And the fan base is so dedicated that led into doing these crazy custom boards, and it all kind of organically grew from there.
Are you seeing more of a fan base coming out of just like the city areas, or are you seeing more West Coast kind of ocean typical surfer kind of skateboard dudes buying your stuff?
Yeah, I feel like definitely coastal is where it's at, and LA is my biggest demographic. But, we got LA and New York, which are my biggest, but I have boards in 50 different countries. So it's kind of resonated all over the place just because, the fan base is all over the place of pop culture stuff.
For the upcoming limited boards, where will people be able to purchase those from?
That'll be at bearwalker.com.
All right, so they'll just go on there, and I'm guessing you'll have a big splash up just saying, like, these are the boards that are going to the charity?
Yeah, we'll make it really easy to find, and it'll be on the front page, and then we'll have a few other links to it, and we're posting the hell out of it on Instagram and all that. But yeah, just the general overview. We're making 150 of them, and 50 grand from the sales are going to this foundation.
Are you doing any other charities in the future, or is this your first time doing it?
No, we definitely have plans to do more. I have a big plan for next year to try to raise 100 grand for ocean conservation, and then every single board from the get-go, $1, $1 of it goes towards planting trees. So basically every board that we sell, we plant a tree for.
Awesome. For potential customers out there, if they're looking to get a custom board done, they just go to the website, and how much should they be expecting to pay out for a custom piece of work?
Yeah, so for customs, there's usually one of my favorite things about this business is I get to be really interactive with the client. Mm-hmm. So you'll go on there, you'll submit a form, basically just and you'll see the custom form on my site. But you'll just click on that, describe what you want, and then I give you general pricing for what it's going to be. My customs right now are typically around $1,000, but we get a deposit, and then I conduct a phone consultation, and we brainstorm together, come up with like the dream board for you, and then in about a month or two, you get a rendering of the board, and then pictures throughout the whole process of your build.
Awesome, Barrett. Thank you very much for taking the time to talk to me today. I really appreciate it. I took a look at your boards today, and it brought me back to when I used to be a skateboarder in the 80s. I was like, man, I wish I had something that was this nice, but I just had a cheap board with just some graphite on it, and that was it for the longest time. But, man, I wish I could have had something that cool.
Hey, man, well, it's never too late.
Yeah. Well, when you're getting up to 40, running a board is not as easy.